What is up, everyone, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 11 of The Running Irishman. I know this is the first episode in about 2 months. I'm going to have a solo episode, I promise, coming out very, very soon, explaining everything. And before I kind of touch on the little things, I actually do want to thank the sponsor of this episode, Mini Athletics. You can see on my shirt right here, it says Mini Athletics Coach. And the reason it says Coach is I'm actually working with Mini Athletics at the moment, and physically with Niall. If you remember, I had Niall on the podcast sometime last year, talking about what mini athletics was, how he got into it, Niall's background in running. He also did previously sponsor the podcast, but now that I am working with Niall, and I continue to promote mini athletics, he mentioned that that he will also continue to promote and sponsor and support and help the podcast as much as he possibly can. So I do really, really appreciate that. If you haven't been here in a while, if you're new, if you haven't seen the episode with Niall, what Mini Athletics is a great place to bring your son, your daughter, your friend, that you know, a cousin, anyone from the ages of 2 all the way up to 6, 7, where they can come. They have their own specific groups. You have your minis, your diddies, your teenies, and yeah, loads of different groups, all different ages, specific to your child, where we play loads of different running incorporated games, and there's all different teams. So there's pirate teams, there's dinosaur teams, there's postmen and women teams, there's so many different teams. There's summer camps, there's Easter camps, and the coaches are great. Niall's great. It's all just a great place to kind of get your son or daughter, their foot in the door in terms of running, where they can then go on to explore running in a greater way after mini athletics, if they want to join a running club. So I'll have all the links down in the description below to Mini Athletics website, to Niall's email, to the Mini Athletics Instagram page, everywhere you need to go to find out about Mini Athletics, how to get in touch with Niall, and how to get signed up and get started today. It's a really, really great place, and I really do appreciate Niall and Mini Athletics sponsoring the podcast, and I do really enjoy working with them as well. So, moving on from that, I kind of just want to touch on as well this episode, which is the most important thing. We have Aaron Smith. I got in touch with Aaron a while back to do an episode of the podcast, and he was just really busy with a lot of things at the time, specifically with the Leaving Cert and getting over to America, which is kind of the bulk of this episode and kind of the main thing that we do speak about in this episode. Aaron shines a fresh light for me, and I'm sure many people watching this, in terms of just in terms of going over to America on a scholarship running, which he did get to do over in the University of Louisiana. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. Not that they didn't fall into place the way he probably would have liked. It just didn't suit him, and Aaron gives a great, breakdown of why things didn't suit him and why running and life in Ireland over here is a better suit to him. So he does give us a breakdown of why things in America over in Louisiana and the scholarship over there did not work out for him, which I feel like is a fresh light for all of us, as we mentioned, especially in this episode, as we mentioned that America and running over in America is put on this kind of pedestal, that the only way to progress in running, especially if you live in Ireland, is to go over to America on a scholarship. And that is definitely not the case that we get to see from Aaron, who has achieved many, many great things in running and will go on to achieve many, many great things in running. So I do really appreciate Aaron taking the time to come on the podcast. It was an absolutely great episode, and I'm really looking forward to all of you guys hearing and getting the chance to hear this episode. And as well, before we get into this episode, I do want to touch slightly on where I've been recently. I will, as I mentioned, in the next few days do a solo episode breaking down everything of where I've been, how my running's going, and my life in general. But I do kind of just want to touch on it here. So as you know, I am in 6th year, and I am really busy with doing the Leaving Cert. So I'm studying, I'm in school, and then after school study. Then after that, I'm going gym, I'm doing my physio, I'm doing my little bit of runs. Oh God, I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of things that have been going on with just running alone that I want to tell you, but I'm gonna save it to the solo episode because I feel like we'll just be better for everyone. But I am slowly starting back, doing a little bit of running. Whether I'm fully recovered and fully fit to start back with the team, I'm gonna hold off until after the Leaving Cert anyway, just so it's not something else I have to add on top of the amount of pressure that I'm under at the moment as well. So I'm gonna hold off. If I do recover between now and the end of the Leaving Cert, I'm gonna wait to get back to the team after the Leaving Cert. What else is I'm working with Mini Athletics with another organisation that I'm working with as well, another business, and just a part-time job because I am going away in the summer, so I do need that extra little bit of money to help fund that. And I am in the gym. I'm getting back into that, doing my physio there, building up strength in my legs, and as well, building up my upper body. Since I haven't been running as much, I have put on some good solid weight, which I'm really happy with. I was way too light when I was back running previously. I'm happy that I put on a little bit of weight, so I'm trying to just kind of turn all of that into muscle a little bit, and I'm really into the gym at the moment, which I will get a lot into. I'll get a lot into the gym and what the specifics I'm doing in the gym in the solo episode of the podcast. But yeah, that's kind of just a quick breakdown, a quick overview of how things have been going recently, and I'm really looking forward to making that solo episode of the podcast to break everything down for people wondering why I've been away so much recently. So, once again, finally, all the links in the description to Mini Athletics to get in touch with Niall and to get all the information you need to sign up today. Mini Athletics isn't only an Irish business, it's over in England as well. I'm not sure if it's anywhere else, but I know it's over in England, so if you are from England as well, you can also get in touch with Mini Athletics and get your kids signed up there as well. So again, I do appreciate Niall and Mini Athletics supporting the podcast, as well as I do appreciate Aaron taking the time to come onto the podcast to have a chat. I really did enjoy it, and I hope you all do. So without further ado, let's get into this episode of the podcast with Aaron Smith. Yes, that's real quick. I'd just like to have the fact that Mini Athletics currently in Dublin or in Ireland are based in Dundalk, Drogheda and Swords. They're always looking to expand for different places and different areas around Dublin and around Ireland to grow Mini Athletics and give other people the opportunity to take part in Mini Athletics. And but at the moment they are based in Dundalk, Drogheda and Swords. I just wanted to add that in really quick.
Yes, lads, what is going on?
My name is Amy O'Donoghue.
People call me Dr. Josh.
My name's Lewis O'Loughlin.
My name is Isolde O'Donnell.
I'm Charlie O'Donovan.
I'm Abdul Jill.
I'm Scott Fagan.
I'm Mark Conrad.
My name's Cormac Dalton.
I'm Paul Byrne.
I'm Michael Morgan.
More than a runner.
The Irish Hammer.
My name's Brennan.
I'm Brian Fay.
It's Dash Bar.
I am a triathlete.
Craig Engels.
Cheryl Nolan. Sean Donoghue. John Rankin.
We got 10th at the World Championships in 2019 in Doha.
I'm doing great, just happy to be on the podcast.
I'm a Man United fan.
Let's get into this episode of the podcast.
Yes, lads, so we are here with Aaron Smith. Thanks very much, Aaron, for taking the time to come onto the podcast and have a little chat. We do have a good bit to get through and kind of some hot topics, I suppose, for you at the moment to have a bit of a conversation about. So I'm really looking forward to this. It was on the cards for a while. We got in touch with each other, or I got in touch with you a while back, and now I'm really happy we get this opportunity to have a little chat. So if you kind of just want to take it away, kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Well, my name's Aaron Smith. I live in Meath. I've been running most of my life. In recent years, I've taken the running fairly seriously. I was recently on a scholarship in America. And yeah, I run pretty much the longest I can. I kind of shy away from the middle distance, but yeah, I've kind of made most of my improvements towards the longer distance in recent times, so that's kind of where I'm sticking at the moment.
Deadly, and kind of from what we have here, it's been working out for the better for you with the kind of recent success that you did definitely have had. So kind of just going, from the bare root of things in terms of running or even just sport in general for you, Aaron, kind of what does that look like in terms of, the initial introduction, I suppose, to sport that you had in your life?
I mean, I was always into sports. I kind of, like most Irish people, grew up playing Gaelic and involved in all kind of school sports. Played golf, tennis, everything that I can kind of get my hands on. Um, and then I was part of Boyne AC. It's a club in Louth when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I kind of just did that as just a bit of fun at the time. And then the last, I'd say, 8 years, my recent club has come along, Kills AC. So I shied away from the sport for a while after leaving Boyne after a year or so, just doing it for fun. And as soon as Kills AC started up, I was one of the first members to join, and then from there it's kind of taken off.
Deadly. So it was kind of, early days into running then, I suppose. And as you said, like most Irish people, it was always, sport was always nearly a part in your life. And then in terms of running specifically, when you first started, was there any kind of, I suppose, natural talent there that has nearly led you or given you that bit of an advantage or boost to where you've gotten to today?
Well, I mean, I have a twin brother, so I always felt like I had more endurance than him, and he was more speed. So, I mean, starting from that way, I always thought I had a bit more natural endurance, but um, I wouldn't say talent. I mean, in recent times, you can kind of see lads coming out of nowhere, and I definitely kind of wasn't the case. I don't think there was any like major breakthroughs at a younger age, and like my progression has been pretty gradual, you know.
Definitely, yeah. And so what I have down here and what you gave me before the episode is that you had a stress fracture at the age of 14. And kind of when you think of stress fractures, I suppose the first thing that comes to your mind is pressure on a bone or on the bone from maybe overuse or overuse and kind of doing a lot of, in this case, mileage or running. So this stress fracture you picked up at the age of 14, kind of where did that stem from? Because was it doing too much too soon, or was it kind of just unlucky?
Yeah, I mean, like it was a very uncommon thing for a child of that age to be getting a stress
Yeah.
fracture. Like, I feel like the reason why I got it was, well, first of all, going back a little bit, like, um, at that age, like I was after having my appendix taken out, and I was only getting back to running really, and like I think once I got back to things, I got back into training, and really I don't think my nutrition was on point. I feel like once I got back into training, like in no means like high mileage or anything, because I was only young. Like I probably was only doing 3 runs a week or so, like as a whole. Um, so it's like I thought it wouldn't have been from mileage. I think it was pretty much just the nutrition, and even like recently I was at what's his name, Evan Scully, for physio, and he was kind of breaking down like why we get stress fractures, and he was saying that a lot of it could be nutrition. So I think definitely it was a case of nutrition and like not enough nutrients. And I mean, I feel like I lost like I lost a lot of weight in a short space of time after coming back. So yeah, I think that was definitely one of the reasons because of that.
So in terms of nutrition, was it in a sense of fueling, or was it in a sense of building fat in your body for the impact of running at a young age?
I think it was definitely under fueling. I feel like I got into the mindset of kind of looking at all the kind of elites and what the ideal body would look like. And even at that young age, it was like, I mean, I should probably get a bit leaner to be performing well. And I mean, it probably took it a bit too far. And then as a result of it, I think that's why I got the stress fracture.
Definitely. And then again, at such a young age, getting an injury like a stress fracture, how did you, I suppose, overcome that injury, and after you even overcame the injury, because I'm currently suffering an injury as well, and I know kind of once you get back get back running a little bit, it's definitely still in the back of your mind. You're always like overthinking about it a little bit, and getting that at such a young age, where maybe in terms of committing to yourself to a sport, you might be immature in a sense. So was it kind of a tough challenge getting back then once you recovered from your injury?
Yeah, so like the thing about running is like injuries are inevitable. Like everyone's gonna get them at some point. I feel like it took a lot of maturity at that age to have such a serious injury. Like it wasn't kind of a textbook stress fracture. Like a few weeks of even in a boot or not running would probably heal it. Like I mean, I got the stress fracture from what I know it was probably October of that year, and I kept running on it because I didn't know what a stress fracture was. It was kind of pain coming and going, and I kept running on it till June. So it was kind of messing up my whole mechanics, and it got to the point where the bone actually wouldn't heal. So I was in the boot for 12 weeks with no improvement or healing. So what I had to do is I had to go to Sanchez Sports Clinic, where I got a screw in the fifth metatarsal. So that's kind of it was a surgery that had to be done. I feel like so as soon as I got the injury in June, I went pretty much straight into the bike and swimming training. So my coach gave me a plan because I was very motivated at the time, even though being very young. Um, so like I mean, yeah, it took a lot of maturity to even just do the training. Like, I mean, you are training like as if like a triathlete minus the running.
Yeah.
So I was doing everything that I could to maintain fitness and even gain some. I mean, after the surgery, I was told like I couldn't do any sport or activity for 4 weeks, and I think if anything, that was the hardest part. Not even being told I can't run for a long time. But getting back into things, like I think everyone kind of has to go through an injury to be able to appreciate the sport, and I'm sure you're probably going through the same thing, like you know.
Yeah, no, definitely it does. And that kind of links into, the mental side of injuries, which, from time to time can be overlooked. And, the amount you had to go through at a young age and the maturity that took is substantial, and is, I suppose, rare for you to come out the other side of it and take it the way you did, again, at such a young age. But kind of on the topic of the mental side of injuries, when you got this injury, when you had your surgery, and when you got told, you couldn't run for 4 weeks, what was your mindset, especially then once you got back into running again? Was it like, were you scared to start back again in case, you get another injury or the same injury could come back? Did it kind of throw you off running a little bit, or were you 100% determined just to get back running as soon as you could?
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's what you do when things aren't going well that matters. So I kind of stuck to that mindset as like I was buzzing to get back running. As soon as I was told I can even get back easing into it, even when I was coming back doing your little 30 seconds run, 30-second walk, like that type of thing, I was buzzing off that and just ready to get going again.
Definitely. And then since then, obviously, we were talking off air, you had a little bit of an injury when you went over to America, which we'll definitely get into later on in the conversation. The stress fracture, but kind of eliminating those two factors, have you suffered from any injuries throughout your career since?
I think everyone suffers from niggles and that type of stuff, but I know last track season, I had a bit of a quad slash knee injury. I think I just the way the lockdowns went, I was just mad for the training, and a lot of it ended up being a bit of road training. And I think I went to physio, but I think I was mistreated for a while. I was trying out different physios because it was hard to get them with the lockdowns and everything. But yeah, I eventually got that sorted. But I ended up missing the track season because of that. So I ended up just pretty much just going to the mountains instead in about July, because I knew kind of wouldn't have the track speed. So I just did that instead.
Definitely no, and that's a big topic I actually wanted to jump into next, was your mountain running. When I was, compiling a few questions for this episode, and I was kind of looking through your Instagram and stuff like that, I did notice you had a bit of a background in the mountain running and a bit of success as well, representing Ireland on the mountains as well. Kind of tell us a little bit about that, because I know it's not something you jump straight into once you get into running for some people. So how did the whole mountain running come about for you?
Yeah, so like initially I got into mountain running just because to benefit the cross country. Like, I mean, on paper, like, I mean, I don't think there's anything that would uh, benefit you more than doing hill training. So, I mean, in terms of when I was in a base phase, I was doing a lot of hill training and longer training, and they're all going towards mountain running. Like, they're all going to benefit you. So it was kind of a no-brainer to hop in a race or two, and I did have a bit of success at that. So I kind of just kept doing it, and it was a great form of base training in that way. Like,
Definitely, and kind of from the success that you have had, and we get into that in terms of representing Ireland, on the mountains, do you, except for the base training, do you kind of incorporate the mountain running or mountain training into your, weekly training schedule, or is it kind of like comparing track to cross country? There's two completely different seasons and completely different, blocks of training specifically for mountain running.
I mean, like, I never really took the mountain like the mountain training or mountain racing too seriously. It was always a track and cross country type of thing, and I think the mountain running was kind of to complement the cross country, definitely.
Definitely, and then from the outside looking in, mountain training and cross country, are similar on the outside looking in, and how does, maybe from someone like you who's had a lot more experience on the mountains, how does the mountain running and cross country training, how does that differ?
I mean, in terms of the actual sessions, it'd be more as if you're training for a base phase more than, like, let's say I'm training for a mountain race. It's more like I'm in a cross country base phase. So yeah, it's kind of your longer reps, and then I never really found myself doing short hills, to be honest, because I know the mountain races, they might look like they're short on paper, but like you're taking the elevation and everything, and like next thing you know, it ends up being a lot longer of a race.
Yeah, definitely. And then would I be right in saying that you picked up your first Irish vest on the mountains?
Yeah, that's right. I did a British and Irish mountain running race, I think, when I was in TY, so I think it was a while ago.
And obviously, maybe you were saying that you don't take the mountain running as seriously as maybe the track or cross country, but just picking up your first Irish vest as an entire experience, how was that for you?
No, I mean, like, it was a great experience. I know they're definitely not as highly rated as the likes of a track or a cross country vest, but I was definitely at the time very, very happy with the experience. I mean, it was an international nonetheless, so I did get the kit is a very good part of that, and getting to talk to the other lads on the team and different international teams. Like, it was a great experience, and then I got to go to the World Under-18, so even that's a bit more international experience. That ended up being in Italy, so that was a good international experience as well.
Definitely. And then kind of just to round things off with your mountain running, kind of where would you like to see that go in the future, or will it kind of always just be something that you'll fall back on to push over the edge a little bit with cross country?
I think in the future, and kind of as it always has been, I think it'll definitely be to complement my cross country. I mean, like, I have high hopes for the sport of running, so I feel like the track times definitely take a hit if you're doing a lot of mountain training, and then the seasons do end up clashing a lot. So I mean, I think the European trials were on. It could have been last week. I'm sure I was racing a road race last week. So I mean, they definitely clash, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So it will, for now anyway, your mindset is it will always just be there to kind of complement the cross country. And on the note of that, kind of with the cross country training, specific cross country training, and the mountain training as well, would you say kind of your cross country then your overall cross country performances compared to the track would be kind of where your higher performances stand?
Um, I think feel like I've definitely had more opportunities to prove myself over cross country. I mean, cross country is definitely my first love in terms of running. Like, I mean, looking back at a younger age, you know, uh, the cross country distances could be 2.5K, 3K and above at the kind of like the under 15, under 16 level, and looking at kind of track training or track races, like the longest distance you could be doing at the under 15 level, like around that age, is a 1500. So, like in terms, like I like doing the long distance. So I found that the cross country and you add a bit of mud into that, and you get a bit more time to make moves and get a bit more comfortable and settle in, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then kind of with all this, experience on the cross country as you've been racing it for so long, and it has led up to recent success definitely, and a few Irish vests, would I be right saying?
For cross country, I haven't gotten an Irish vest just yet, but like I've medalled at nationals at under 18, and then I was third in the autumn open cross country. They're like kind of my most recent successes over cross country.
Yeah, and so on the note of the autumn open race, was that your start, or your kind of your first race to kick things off in the cross country 2021 season?
Yeah, that was my first race of the season. I was happy the way training was going leading into that race, and I mean, it's a weird race because you know you're set off with the senior men, and you don't know where you stand until pretty much you cross the line. Like I really just hadn't a clue what position I was in until I crossed the line.
And then for that race, you said you're happy with how your cross country season or your cross country training was going. So how were you feeling going into that race? I was there watching it, and it was a big field, as you mentioned. Many age groups kind of put into the run one race. So how were you feeling going into that race?
Um, Going into that race, I didn't have any really expectations. It was just first race of the season. It was more of a thing to see where I was at. Never mind putting any sort of pressure on myself. Uh, Going into that race, like I don't think I really tapered either. I mean, um, I still did 2 sessions before that race, and that race was it was grand. It was kind of a building block as the season. You know, there was definitely a lot more work to be done to finish out the season.
Definitely. And then obviously you came in with, after not tapering, after doing sessions just before the race, and then coming in third behind Scott Fagan and Nick Riggs, two, high quality athletes. How did that kind of boost your confidence or motivate you then for the rest of the cross country season?
Yeah, no, at the time I was very happy to be up with them lads. Like I considered myself like that was definitely within my ability to be up there. I mean, in terms of that season as a whole, like after that race, I was thinking, yeah, definitely like Eurocross is on the cards. Like looking at previous autumn open results, I think you definitely would have been expecting me to be on the team after getting third. I was thinking that myself anyway. But yeah, I think I kind of got too excited after that race anyway. Like I think maybe I think the only thing I was thinking about was like the harder I train, like that's all that matters. Like maybe the harder I train, like the more likely I'll be on the team because I've already gotten this result. So I think the way the season came around that way, like I mean, I raced Leinster's and had a big blow up during that. I got fourth in that, and that was only, I think it could have only been a week after that race. And then in the actual nationals, I think I was, what was I, probably 13th or 14th, in around, like, not in the top six anyway. But I think, yeah, I definitely got too excited after that race and took the training a bit hard, I think. And that's the kind of the way the season came around.
Yeah, so in terms of the training for the previous cross country season that has just passed, what kind of compared to what you done leading up to the Autumn Open, which I know was early in the season and maybe you were kind of just coming out of a base phase, but compared to the start of the cross country season just before the Autumn Open, leading up then to the Eurocross, what kind of changed in your training maybe to lead to those blow ups in the races?
I mean, I don't think much changed at all, to be honest. I think I raced the Autumn Open, I raced Leinster's, and I raced Nationals. I think the recovery, I think that was might have been neglected. I mean, in terms of, I think Leinster's, I think it was just tactical. Like, to be honest, I think going into that race, I was thinking, no matter what way it's run, I could probably get the win, and like I never go out hard at the start of the race, and I went out hard, so
Yeah,
I paid the price definitely.
yeah,
And then, for nationals, like it was a long week before nationals. So what was it? So for McNeese, to get to McNeese, I had to sit exams. So I had the exams. I had to do like an online maths and English course, and it was supposed to be like a course that'd take you like ages. Like some people were taking about a month to do it, and I crammed it into a week. But I also had like so I'm an emergency medical technician, so that's what I'm working at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a kind of work on the ambulance and a medic for gigs and stuff like that. So I also had my practical exam, like my final exam for that. And it was all in the space of a week, all of this was happening. So I think it was stress and all, like
Yeah.
it didn't come together as what I thought it would. But I think that's kind of the way you just have to take it. Like I definitely didn't dwell on the performance, and if anything, like I was excited to get out of the under 20 ranks in a way, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's obviously just unfortunate in the sense where, you know, big races were coming up and then it clashed with trying to get stuff sorted out for scholarships and colleges and things like that, and exams. So, like, you know, I suppose maybe the cross country season didn't go as you planned, but at least you had these other things that you were kind of falling back on as well. So it was maybe, I don't know, bittersweet for you at the time, and then leading up, especially with it being a season where Eurocross was on, and with it being in Dublin. So kind of what moment during the season did it kind of, you know, come to you to the fact that maybe you wouldn't be representing Ireland or running on the team in Eurocross after coming off such a strong start of the season and placing third in the Autumn Open?
I mean, like I started to kind of feel it in sessions anyway. Like the sessions weren't really coming together as I would have planned. Like, I mean, like I kind of burnt out in a few sessions, and if anything, that kind of would have been an indicator. But I kind of I felt like I rested as well as I could have leading into nationals, because I knew that I was kind of overworked in the sense of the course and the exams and stuff like that. So I had to hold it together as much as I could. But like once I kind of only accepted it once I crossed the line, and like I wasn't bitter about it. I was happy for the lads that did make the team, and they had an amazing performance, and I was there on the day. Like I wouldn't have been a person to just think like, oh, I didn't make the team, so I wasn't gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
I was over the moon for the lads, and the lads that did make the team deserve it more than anything. they deserve it more than me because they obviously made the team, like, you know.
Definitely. And then obviously there on the day, like you mentioned, it was an absolutely great day for all Irish athletes, whether you were competing or watching. So now is a kind of, I know we're coming into the track season now, we may be looking ahead into future cross country seasons, picking up your first Irish vest and hopefully making your first European Irish team. They definitely two goals that are on the cards for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've a long future in the sport, and the way, like, I've made a steady progression through the sport, and I think the only way is up from here. So definitely, my goals would be to make Irish teams and run fast times, you know.
Definitely, 100%. And no, we're kind of then jumping into the other side of the spectrum of running, I suppose, in terms of track. And I know you mentioned earlier that maybe a few of your track times have maybe taken a hit since the kind of training that you do leading in towards cross country, with cross country training and the mountain training. But that didn't stop you from placing second in the national junior 5k. So obviously picking up any sort of medal on a national event in Ireland is a great achievement. But coming second in the junior national 5k in one of the longer distance, which you mentioned, is definitely your favourite. How was that entire experience for you?
Yeah, it was a great experience overall. Like, I mean, going into that season, with the lockdowns and everything, I was thinking definitely if there was any race to go ahead, it would be the junior 5k. I mean, it's the first opportunity that juniors get to experience 5k on the track. So I was thinking, like, the longer the better. So yeah, going into that race, training was going well. I was the fittest I was at the time, compared to previous seasons. I think training over lockdown had gone well. Like, I had I had the head screwed on, like, you know. The race, the way it went, it was a tactical run. I definitely didn't want it to turn into a sit and kick race, but that's what it turned into. I wouldn't have counted myself as someone who had a good kick at all. So once what the race turned into was the sit and kick. But yeah, the way the race went, I kicked with pretty much 500 to go. Led from there. Was leading at the bell, and then Michael put on the jets, and then kicked the first place, and I got second. So I did what I could in the day, and that was about it.
Definitely. And then kind of with kicking as early as he did, and Michael taking the race in a different kind of manner, in a different way as the race progressed, or coming into the final lap. And I had Michael on the podcast, and we definitely spoke about this race as well. Was it bittersweet at all, crossing the line in second place, or kind of were you just over the moon in the moment with the result?
Oh yeah, it was an amazing feeling. Like, I mean, arguably a breakthrough performance. Like, I mean, I'd medalled on the cross, but I had no sort of like track experience really. So I was over the moon. I wasn't disappointed with second place, and I was just kind of took it in my stride, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And then since then, in terms of a breakthrough, kind of what other kind of success have you seen on the track since?
So I didn't really get a track. I didn't get a track season last year. So I mean, I'd medalled in. I had a steady progression with the 3K. In earlier years, like, I was I was second in the 3K at Leinster's when I was, I think, under 17, and then I won it as an under 18. So, and then the lockdowns came, stuff like that. But I mean, track, like, I ran. Let's see, when I was over in America, I raced indoors, so I ran a time of, I think it was 8:40, as my debut, and then my second race was a 3K, and I ran 8:32 or 8:35. So I think a steady enough progression.
Definitely. And then even like these kind of breakthrough races, the kind of mental side of things is also neglected as well, in a sense where it gives you a great form of confidence, inner confidence within yourself. Maybe the next time you step out onto the line, if there's a few other athletes that you may be worried about, that kind of is probably brushed aside a little bit when you have a great performance like placing second in national juniors over the 5k, where maybe you're like to yourself, right, I can put it up to these guys. I can put myself in a position to win these races and run good times. So is that also another aspect of your running that greatly improved after the second place finish?
Yeah, I mean, like even before that race, I definitely was visualizing a medal in that race. Arguably like a win. Even before that performance, I know I wouldn't have been counted in for even a medal if you were looking at the start list for that race. But I don't think I go into any race thinking I don't have a shot. I think you're kind of wasting your time if you're thinking that way. So yeah, even after that race, my mentality, it didn't change. I think I always had that kind of thing about me that I did. Like I knew the way training was going. Like I'd be honest with myself. And yeah, like I think I was confident as well.
Definitely, no. It's always, some people getting mixed up with, arrogance and confidence, and the way your mentality, you go about the sport, is definitely oozing with confidence that only even pushes you further. Then once you get on the starting line, like you mentioned, if you go onto the line with a mindset of, oh, I could lose to this person, I could lose to this person, compared to the other person that's going into the race visualizing medaling, it's definitely going to give you that mental advantage anyway, and that could definitely lead into a greater performance. But in terms of your running career up until this point, obviously we've seen great success and great times and medals picked up across the board, and like the opportunity even to head over to America that we'll jump into now. But even like last cross country season, do you think maybe the way things have fallen, you've been unlucky in a sense, and it's only kind of up from here now? You're back from Ireland, back in your normal routine, and as the seasons are about to progress, you can really see yourself making a name for yourself and kind of progressing even further.
Yeah, I think I definitely do have a good mentality, and overall just definitely a love for the sport. So I think I'll definitely be sticking at it. I think that's the main thing. I wasn't thinking that doing well in my junior career was the end goal, and I think I'm definitely targeting seniors and like an overall running career more than targeting specific races or specific seasons. Definitely.
Definitely. So you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah,
deadly.
Of course.
You have to be. It's a tough sport, and the margins are so slim, especially at the top level, across the board. So you kind of have to be 100% in it if you want to kind of get yourself out there, make a name for yourself, as well as kind of seeing improvements. And we've touched on it a little bit over the course of our conversation already, which is America, and I kind of want to dive into that now, if that's okay, because I just want to make the point that, like, people are, like I mentioned off air, people are putting, America on this pedestal that, the only way to progress in running is to go over to America and go over on a scholarship and then come back and be a different kind of animal, I suppose, which is something that has worked out for many people, but it definitely hasn't worked out for everyone. And maybe that was the case for you. We'll find that out as we kind of progress in our conversation here. I kind of just want you to kind of take over a little bit, and from the ground up to where we are today, in terms of your whole American scholarship experience, how that was for you.
Yeah, so pretty much, like I always trained by myself. I never really had a group specifically to train with. So my mentality was pretty much like going over to America would give me a group, and I'd make improvements. That's what I was going into it thinking. I mean, when I was in in sixth year, towards the end, I wasn't really thinking about scholarships. The end goal was kind of college in Ireland and paramedic and stuff like that. So like I contacted a few colleges in fifth and sixth year, but I did give up on that towards the end, like kind of when reality hit. I know when I first had the idea of going, I was kind of more scared more than anything about going. But then I think I did mature a bit over between fifth and sixth year, and you know, the CAO for me didn't really work out. For a lot of people, it doesn't, and I was kind of one of them. I didn't get my first pick, so I was a bit lost at the time. Um, so I emailed a few colleges again to kind of get the ball rolling, to even just consider if that was an option to go over to the States, even if I was to take a gap year now and head over in September, or if I was to head over in January. So I got in contact with the colleges, and I heard back from McNeese. There was a lot of requirements that I had to meet, so I had to do a few exams to get in, to meet the kind of basic requirements of the college. I ended up doing their exams, and I had to do a course. As I said before, it was a long course, but I crammed it in just to meet the deadline that I was trying to go over in January and starting the spring semester. And probably wasn't a good idea, all that cramming in terms of my nationals performance, but so what can you do? It's in the past, you know. But yeah, I kind of had the mentality of, well, I missed out on an opportunity, so I kind of have to grab it while I can. So yeah, I ended up heading over to McNeese University in January on athletic scholarship, and we kind of headed off from there. As soon as I went over, I hit the unluckiness, you know. I got COVID pretty much as soon as I was supposed to make my debut for the college. I think it was in a 3K, and we were just getting a COVID test before we left for that race, and I tested positive and I had to go into isolation. So it wasn't a good start, but in terms of the way things were heading, I was trying my best to settle in, but as I'm back now, we can see it obviously it didn't really work out, you know.
Definitely. And kind of going back to the start a little bit, you mentioned there that you didn't get your first choice on the CAO, so that's kind of when you jump back into the scholarship kind of things, heading over to America. Was that kind of just you mentioned there you were lost a little bit as well, so if you did get your first choice, you know, things obviously would have worked out differently, so your mindset then shift to go back over to America. Was that kind of like a last minute kind of resort kind of thing, so you're not just sitting around doing nothing, it was just something that maybe you thought you'd get into, or was it something that you genuinely wanted to do?
I think I genuinely wanted to give it a go. Like, I think I definitely felt like I lost an opportunity. I know my clubmate Holly Brennan, she was over in Providence, and then my other clubmate Lauren Murphy, she was over in Indiana University. So both of them were gone, and then I mean they were like my best mates, so I didn't really know what to do from there. But I definitely wanted to grab the opportunity while I had the chance, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then kind of once you went over there, initially, the running specifically, I know you mentioned off air as well before we started our conversation that you picked up a bit of a niggle once you got over there. So kind of what was that like, being so far away from home, being over there pretty much for running specifically? Obviously you have your course and things, but being there on an athletic scholarship and picking up a little bit of an injury, was that a little bit overwhelming?
I mean, like, as soon as I only picked up the I only picked up the niggle once I actually arrived home. So I was lucky enough to actually be running all right while I was over there. But I think definitely the training indicated to why I was to pick up that little niggle. Like over there, obviously I was unlucky and I got COVID straight away. And I think the main thing was like, or one of the things was getting COVID straight away over there is like you're in an unknown environment. It's a lot different than just isolating like in your gaff at home. But like I mean, there's a lot of aspects to why I wasn't like I personally don't think I was suited. I mean, like yeah, I did jump into the experience. I know my personality probably like on paper I don't think I was well suited to packing up my things and just leaving. Like it's a big deal,
Yeah.
and I think at the time I was just like, I have the opportunity, I'll just take it. I didn't give much thought to the actual decision.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned there as well that in fifth and sixth year you were kind of getting in touch with a few colleges to see where maybe things would go. Do you think if you got an offer earlier on there that you really did like, maybe just say in fifth year, and you had all the way through sixth year, you had the whole Leaving Cert, you actually had until January 2022 that the way things worked out, that's when you went over into Louisiana. Do you think things would have worked out differently if you hadn't gotten if you had have gotten an offer back in fifth year? You would have had more time to kind of think it through with family and the college, and you would have been able to make up your mind maybe in a more experienced mindset if you'd gotten an offer earlier on.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think anyone who's looking into going to the States, like the younger lads and girls, like I think that's the way it's done traditionally. I think anyone would kind of benefit from that, you know.
Definitely. And then all right, you're over in America now. You arrive there, you get COVID. After COVID, you're in with the team and you start running. Initially, when you started running with the team, I know you mentioned that you were kind of solo running a good bit through your majority of your career. So how was that? Once then you got over there with the team and you start running. How was the initial actual running experience for you?
I mean, it was definitely I don't know, outside of my comfort zone. I'd say. I'm used to definitely just going off my own effort during sessions, and even I know the training was very different. So it was a mixture of uh, training with people and it not being the training that I'm used to. So it was definitely a big change, and in a way, like I definitely don't think I was well suited towards the actual training. Um, I know I had a great relationship. I still have a great relationship with my coach, and he's definitely tailored my training towards my needs. And I think in a system like, I know for me anyway, in the NCAA, that the training ends up being tailored to the group and not specifically to the individual.
Yeah, definitely. So did you kind of think that you would have been leaving some of your potential in the tank if you had continued training the way the training was ran over in Louisiana in comparison to the way that your coach over here in Ireland was training you?
To sum it up, yeah, I think that I think my training that has been kind of tailored to me all over all these years, because like I've had the same coach for a long time, that he knows me the best, and the training was very different, and I wasn't getting the same results as at home. Like I know we only did 2 sessions a week, and they were very intense. Like that it's different styles of training, and I'm sure they all work. But for me personally, I really even just enjoyed my own training at home. I think we were definitely my training at home is ticking all the boxes for me, and just over there, for me personally, it just kind of wasn't.
Definitely. And I suppose it is a very mature mindset to be able to recognize that, especially as early on as you did. I know there might be some people that would have maybe stuck it out a little bit longer and things would have worked out differently and maybe not in their favour, but for you to be able to recognise that early on and to call it short, because as I mentioned, people have America in this pedestal and they would have probably stuck with it, and you know, maybe even just for the fact to stay over in America and be away from Ireland. But for you to be able to recognise that and to be able to call America short as soon as you did and know that it wasn't going to work out, I suppose is a very mature mindset towards your own training.
Yeah, I know. It's a very common thing to put America on some sort of kind of pedestal. But for me, like, I know my body, I know what training works. I was open to trying different styles and everything, but I took my emotions out of the picture, so I wasn't thinking about if I go home about how things might be easier or any sort of that type of thing. Like, I didn't think about kind of missing anyone, because I know people can get very homesick when they're in the States, but I definitely kind of broke it down, just took the facts and just kind of took it from there, you know.
Definitely.
I made the decision, all things considered, and I did cut it short. I ended up coming home in, I think it was the 7th of March. So I went over and I left on January 1st and back on March 7th.
So yeah, it was a pretty short span over there. And then in terms of your coach over in Louisiana when you were running there, how much was he involved in you coming back to Ireland?
So I'm not trying to say anything, you know, controversial.
Yeah.
So he so let's just say at the time he was supportive. I have nothing against him. Things didn't work out. You know, he has a group of guys over there and a group of girls, and I wish them all the best. Like, the guys were great, the girls were great, you know. Yeah, he's a good guy, and I wish him the best in the future. But things didn't work out, and I just made the decision myself, because I just seen a trend of the way I thought my training and performances might be going if I stuck to that plan specifically.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's fair enough, and I suppose it's a great way to put it. As you said, you don't want to say anything controversial, and you've nothing against them. Over in America, over in the college, it was just for you personally. It didn't fully work out, and that's 100% respectable. That the fact that you could see that, and the fact that you took the decision to come back home, and we know that you did get the opportunity to race over in America during the indoor season over there. How was that experience racing over in America?
Yeah, actually, I loved everything about racing in America. That was like, it was the only reason I was over there. Like, it was the only thing that kept me there.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, it's amazing. Like, even our home meet, we had an indoor track, and it's some buzz. Like, it's amazing. I got the opportunity to travel from Louisiana to Alabama twice. So that's an 8-hour or a 10-hour bus journey each way, and you stay in a hotel and you get to run on this track. So yeah, I got to run an indoor 5K, which we obviously don't do over here, or I haven't seen anyway. But yeah, even a bit of a story from running the 5K indoors. So this was at conference. I got lapped it must have been just coming up the home straight. It could have been the last 20 meters of my race, and I'm crossing the line thinking I'm after finishing in like third or fourth, and the clock says 14. Like, the clock was messed up,
Yeah.
because if you watch the live stream, it said 14:12 or something, but on the clock it said 14:20 or 20 something.
Yeah.
So I'm after crossing the line thinking, I felt good during that race, you know. That's realistic,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because and I crossed the line, and I have the Viennese coach shouting at me, "You've one more lap." And I said it before, like, I don't think I have the best kick, but I'm working on it. Let's just say, but yeah, I dropped a 30-second last lap
Oh,
in the
deadly.
5K, and that was a long actual last lap. I ran a 47. I ran a 47 for my actual last laps, but I dropped under 15 minutes for the first time. I think I ran 14:54 or something. So
Not too bad.
it wasn't too
Yeah.
bad, but it was more of a 4,800 meter race, let's just say.
Yeah, no, but like you said, we don't do them pretty much at all, or not very often over here. So maybe it was a little bit of inexperience or whatever, but like it must have been a brutal race, because I know even like running an 800 indoor that I've done before, your mouth gets dry and it's really
Yeah.
warm. What was it in terms of your like body? How conditioned was your body to run that 5K indoors over there?
I mean, I was training in Louisiana, so it's kind of like I think it's like swampland, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really warm anyway.
Yeah.
So indoors wasn't a big jump or anything. I think indoors it's the same wherever you go. It's the same building, you know.
Yeah.
Your mouth is gonna be dry, and like you just have to get through it, you know.
Definitely. No, but look, you done your bit over in America. It didn't work out, and now you're back over here in Ireland, where maybe you could say you're a lot more comfortable than you were over in America. So since you come back, how have things been looking? You know, in terms of training, has it been kind of straight back into normal, that what you and your coach would regularly do? And then now, with the track season, you know, kicked off, what's the plans for the rest of this track season?
Yeah, so pretty much, even just coming back, I was buzzing. I mean, life is very different over there. I was just over the moon to be back. Even like everything has been up since I've been back. I know. There was a lot of stress, even just getting things sorted to go over to America. It's a big move, like, you know, for anyone, and it definitely took a lot of thought and a lot of preparation. So, coming back was a bit a very big relief. When I came back, I did have I went to Evan Scully, which is a very good physio in Navan. So I got with him, and I had a bit of tendonitis in my foot. So how I got that was, what I think anyway, is from the indoor track. So I know, like, I do all my training on grass.
Yeah.
That's kind of, if anything, that would be my secret for injury prevention. I mean, I live in Meath, so there's kind of grass everywhere, you know. I don't know about yourself, but yeah, there's kind of grass everywhere, and I have the beach right beside me, so kind of soft surfaces, you know. And then going to Louisiana, like, just road and track. I'd had to kind of sneak off to get a bit of grass running myself, you know. But I didn't mind that. But so I think how I got the tendonitis in my foot, it was specifically the left foot.
Yeah.
So if you notice, when you're running around the track, all the pressure is getting put on your left foot.
Yeah.
From running around the track. So I think specifically, like, we'd be doing sprints around 200 meter track, and we had a flat track, like fully flat, so no bends. So it's even more pressure on the inside of your foot and on the inside leg. So I think that's how I got it, but I did catch it very early, and I think I only had to go to Evan, could have been 2 or 3 times.
Oh,
so I didn't kind of miss any training at all, and kind of didn't miss out on any fitness. And since then, I've been when did I race? I raced the national relays, just a bit of experience. I raced the 3 mile leg, and then last week I raced the Drogheda 10K, where I was second to Mick Clossy, which
Totally.
is he's obviously a very good runner. I have a lot of respect for Mick. I got to talk to him before and after the race, and he's a great guy, honestly. My plans for the rest of the season. I'm in my first year of under 23, so it is a bit of a weird situation. I know normally you kind of would be targeting your age group championships, but really I'm just looking to gain experience. I mean, there's a long career ahead of me, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. And if anything, just get experience and enjoy training, which I definitely have been doing, and a bit of race experience, and yeah, definitely enjoying training and enjoying life back. And I've been working as an emergency medical technician since I've been
Oh,
back,
deadly.
and that's been going great. And yeah, I'm loving kind of all aspects of being back.
100%.
So I know America definitely isn't for everyone, and it has to be understood. And I know before I went over, I was thinking the only way to get to the next level would be America.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a lot of people it does work out, but for the few like myself, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's not for everyone.
No, 100%, it's not. And with the way you've been talking about how you've dealt with different things like injuries and making up your mind to come back home from America, we can tell that you'll have quite a long successful career ahead of you, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you for the next few years and supporting you on in your races. So I'll be definitely looking forward to that.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to my future and the future of sport in general. Like, it's a very competitive place at the moment, and I think I'm not one to compare myself to others either. Like, I'm very like specific to my own performances. I mean, it's easy to compare yourself to whoever is running amazing times, which a lot of lads are. Like, fair play to them. But yeah, I think if you look at your own training, like, it is an individual sport at the end of the day. So if you look at making improvements for yourself, like, that's where you're going to get the longevity. Like, it's easy to look at guys running amazing times and think, oh, can I do that, or can I make a team? But yeah, I think it's a solo sport, and just enjoy it. Like, that's where you get the longevity.
100%. No, your mindset towards the sport is deadly. It's really, really good. And I suppose if more people had that kind of mindset, we'd have a lot more success in the sport. So no, I do think that's a really good mindset that you do have towards sport. And again, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and having a chat. I really did enjoy it, and it is a fresh light, I suppose, compared to some other guests that I've had on the podcast towards America. As we mentioned numerous times, it's not for everyone, and I think it is great to get a story out there for people who might feel pressure to go over or feel pressure to come back from America back to Ireland or wherever they're from. I think it is great to have someone to kind of shine the light on the fact that it is okay to not be enjoying it or to come back. So I do really appreciate you coming on the podcast and taking the time to share that with us.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. It's been great. Like, I've been listening to the podcast. I'm a big podcast type of guy. Like, and yeah, I'm sure you're very busy with school, but it'll be a good summer, and hopefully we get on some good guests.
Definitely.
And keep it exciting,
Fingers crossed, 100%. That's the goal anyway. We started starting to back up now today with you, and then as we get into the summer, we get more and more guests on. But like I said, I do really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. I suppose in the future, and maybe this time next year, as the next track and cross country season roll around, we might have you back on again to see what you've been up to. And yeah, fingers crossed you do well and you pick up some more medals and some more Irish fests. And as well, for everyone watching and listening at home, I do really appreciate you, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.